Thanks for this introduction, and it's really important for me to be here. I think that I had the third function, which is an ambassador of collaboration between Tongji University and Hanover. I think this is the uppermost important reason to make me here. And today I will give a talk with the title of People to People, Human to Nature, and Next Design Innovation in the area of AI. And of course, before that, as a Vice President of Tongji University, I have to use this opportunity to promote my university a little bit. A very brief introduction of Tongji University. Tongji University, we have a very special relationship with Germany. In 1907, Tongji University was established by a German doctor. So we started the education from the engineering, and then we add. We start from medical. We started the Tongji University. We started the education from the medical study, and then we add engineering. And Tongji was one of the first national university in China. I think the first 7 national university in China. And these are the key figures of Tongji University. I just mentioned some of them. We have 29 colleges and schools and 11 affiliated hospitals. And this is really important. You have 11 affiliated hospitals, and we have 4 campuses covering an area of 2.5 square kilometer. And we have 82 bachelor programs and 71 master programs and 43 PhD programs. And the university is really quite big. We have more or less 35,000 students. Half of them, they are undergraduate students, and half of them, they are graduate students, including 7,300 doctor students. So that's give you an image of the size of the university. And this is our library. So in the autumn, I think it's more or less this season. It's a very beautiful, university campus is very beautiful. Of course, thanks for our strong architecture program. And Professor Cai Lin and Dr. Cai Lin also graduate from College of Architecture and Urban Planning. And these are our academic folks. So we have 2 foundation parts. One is sustainability. So the university, we focus on the research and education of sustainability since a long time ago. Even during our former president term, we started this to make this strategy be clear, I think more or less in 2008 something. And then the university also, like all of the university, right, we emphasize all kinds of intelligent technology. And then we have 3 application areas. One is intelligent design and manufacturing, and intelligent and green construction equipment, and intelligent medicine and life science. And if the real impact of the university sometimes is beyond the data. If you come to China, I would say that the Tongji University may be the uppermost important university contributed to China's urbanization. I just give one example. So 40% of the big and the middle cities in China actually planned by Tongji University. And so if you come to China, when you see the highest building, the longest bridge, the deepest port, and basically these are all Tongji University. You can always see Tongji University's contribution. According to the ranking, our ranking is not that impressive, I have to say. I think this is one of the challenges of all German universities, right? We are really good, but sometimes, the American system and the UK system, the British system, the ranking is not that friendly to us. But in some of the field, our ranking is not bad. For instance, our autumn design, according to the QS ranking, is number 12 in the world. 5 years, number 1 in Asia. Our architecture is number 13 in the world, and our civil engineering is number 20 in the world. So this is the QS ranking. But for the US news ranking and our ranking, the World University ranking by Jiao Tong University, and our civil engineering always be ranked number 1 in the world. And then, mechanical engineering, number 13 in the world by US News, and engineering ranked number 17 in the world, and for the World University ranking, or transportation engineering is number 7 in the world, and the environmental engineering is number 37 in the world. But I think that there are two rankings I think especially meaningful. One is the Times Impact ranking. Tongji University was ranked really very high on number 13. This ranking is about the sustainability. It's mainly about sustainability. So when I mentioned that the university has set a strategy that the university wants to be a leading university in the research and education on sustainability, and sometimes, I mean, later, a couple of years later, when you set up a strategy, like 7 years later, 10 years later, you will see that the data indicated by the ranking. And the university is very international. We have altogether 12 international platform colleges: Sino-German, Sino-French, Sino-Italian, Sino-Finnish, Sino-Spanish, and also lots of joint efforts with United Nations. And we have more or less 280 global partner universities and 34 strategic partners. And the international numbers very high, and before COVID, we have more or less 5,000 international students, 1,000 German students among these 5,000. German is number 1, Italy is number 2. So that's the reason. This is, to be honest, this is when I was appointed as a vice president of university taking care of international collaboration. This is the first trip I ever did. And we have 400 English courses. So, I mean, literally, I mean, learning is not a big issue. We have more than 100 double degree program, and we are very proud. I mean, for instance, this is a picture in 2010 when I accompanied my former president when we visited Italy, and we at that time we delivered a Tongji master degree to our Italian students. And these days we are very happy that our former alumni, I mean, Dr. Oliver Blumer was appointed as CEO of Volkswagen, and he did his PhD at Tongji University. So I really hope that more German students are here, and you can consider to do a PhD in Tongji. Maybe, I mean, that you will duplicate the career that Oliver Blumer has done. And faculty, both international faculty and domestic Chinese faculty. I mean, Chinese faculty, they have international influence worldwide. And our international faculty also get highly recognized at Tongji, and I'm very happy. Just a couple of minutes ago, I met Professor Beer, and he had such a nice collaboration with Professor Li Jie and Professor Huang Hongwei. I think that this is really the most beautiful thing in this nowadays a little bit miserable time due to the COVID. Globally, and the research collaboration is actually extend. I mean, from the pure research and to the wide area, and we joint publish paper, and we create the journal together, right? And also, I mean, we transfer the outcome of our research to real impact. For instance, this is one example. Professor Li Fengtian of our environmental engineering, School of Environmental Engineering, and he spent more than 10 years in Africa. I mean, working together with Africa cities and countries. I mean, to improve the water environments. And now at Tongji, and we start to establish two very important platforms. And one is Sino-German Joint Research Center, and another one is Sino-German Doctor School. So we want to connect education and research in a much closer way. And we really hope that the student here, I mean, if you have a master degree, please consider to do a PhD at Tongji, and we will give a very concrete support for the incoming PhD students, especially from Germany. And at the same time, I mean, we also work on the postdoctors. At Tongji, at this moment, we provide associate professors level salary for our postdoctoral students. And the international collaboration is a very important part is industry collaboration. And the first agreement I signed with the industry was with Siemens. I mean, when I was appointed the vice president, and we renewed the strategic collaboration agreement with Siemens. Of course, I mean, our industry partner is really is a huge group, and the culture exchange, the life at Tongji. And these are also the visit by the government leaders from, a majority of them they from Europe, and lots of German presidents, your chancellor, right, and the premier of Italy, for instance. I mean, this high-level visit is really, I mean, it's quite popular at the Tongji. But I will see that it's not only a kind of political interaction. More important, it really changes the atmosphere, especially the cultural environments of the university. So when the French president came to announce the Sino-French Center, Sino-French campus, and then we have a very beautiful, sexy Sino-French center. The headquarters, the building itself is a really a piece of art. And then I established the Sino-Finnish Center, and we built 2 saunas in the Sino-Finnish Center, one on the rooftop and one on the inside, and it's working. We have a sauna club there, and this is the Sino-German Center, which is very cool. In some way, it just has a German style. And this is our Sino-Italian campus. When the Premier of Italy, former Premier of Italy, Lynch visited us. And this is very interesting. When the Premier selfie with our students, I think that this is a kind of international, I mean, cultural environments. So, I mean, for those, I mean, who never visit Tongji, I encourage you to visit Tongji. And for those who have already been long-term friend of Tongji, I also hope that you can visit Tongji again, and you will see the change of the city, and you will see changes of the university. Okay, so I finished the first part of a quick introduction of the university. So let's talk about design. That's my main topic today. Personally, I was educated as an architect. I mean, during 1998 to 2009, and I realized, I think the 400,000 square meters public building. So I had my own studio. I mean, at that time, I mean, just like as a professor in the architecture school, so we are teaching, but at the same time, we're taking care of a design architecture studio. So basically, we do the 2 jobs, and I can tell you the majority of income maybe come from the practice. But Tongji University, we have a very long history. Again, I mean, it's related to Bauhaus in the architecture education. So in 1940s, and for instance, this is Professor Huang Zhuoshen, and he was a student of Walter Gropius in Harvard, and then he came back to Shanghai in 1940s. And he's not the only one, and we have a couple of professors, like Professor Jingjing Chang came from Darmstadt, and Professor Feng Qizhong come from TU Vienna. And so we have a very strong Bauhaus tradition, and then we consider the city, the architecture, and also design as a whole thing. I think this is also thanks, I mean, to the Bauhaus tradition. And so Tongji, inside of Tongji, we always changing, I mean, our understanding of the design according to the changing of the economy and the society. And in 2009, Tongji University made a huge decision to separate its art and design department from College of Architecture and Urban Planning, and established a brand new college called College of Design and Innovation. And we changed the name from Art and Design to Design and Innovation. I mean, we believe that design will play a more and more important role in the field of innovation. And this is also the reason, if we stick with art, and it's not necessary to separate it from architecture, right? But if we want to talk more about the design contribution on innovation, then we need to have a separate school. So since then, I mean, we're always talking about the design-driven innovation in this new school, and we extend this agenda into 2 areas. One is in science and technology field, and the second is on social innovation. Nowadays, I mean, mainly in the context of sustainability. The school is developing very well. As I mentioned, that the ranking is very high. I mean, #1 in Asia for 5 years, #12 in the world. But the more important is that we expand the design program for the physical world to the immaterial world. And before, we only have 3 programs on the You can see on the left, industrial design, environmental design, media and communication design. And then we created the first service design program in China in 2007, and then international design program, design strategy and management. And in 2017, we created the first artificial intelligence and design program, I think maybe in the world. And of course, we have innovation and entrepreneurship and the design theory and the history. So altogether, I mean, we have 9 programs. And when we talk about this design driven innovation, I think that one of the biggest opportunity in China is China's industry transformation. The whole industry, actually, that I think it happened like here in Germany. Right, and we all heard about the story. I mean, made in Germany. Before, the made in Germany is a brand to say that that's a low, it's a cheap cost and a low quality. At that time, the high quality product is come from England, right? And now German, made in Germany, is a symbol of a high quality, right? And and I think that China actually experiencing the exactly same time. I just give an example. This is Miss Liu Dan, and she still is associate professor of the college, but at the same time, she was president of Asia Pacific area of design affairs, which before it's a former design department of Siemens. But a couple of years ago, and she decided to create a startup company and focus on the tools. And this is the first product she ever made. Important design is no longer just only provide a service as a designer, and she's owner of this brand. And she used design, across the whole innovation chain. So eventually, I think that single product, I think that how many? Maybe now 5 to 6 million sets has been sold in China. And this is the first electric product she ever made. So in any way, I think that they can see that that kind of demands or needs is now, it's really emerging. When China, they shift from the economy of basically we saw that the low level needs, to a kind of a high level life, quality of life, and then they really need design. And these are the projects that we work with the core industries. It's a joint effort with Aston Martin. And how to use, it's covered from the interaction design area, right, to the system design area. For instance, how to consider a car and the road and the whole city infrastructure as a whole. Not only, designing the car, but how to redesign the whole system. And also, we designed the transport, we extend the transportation design on Mars. And in 2019, Dava Newman, the current director of MIT Media Lab, she came to Shanghai to open our students' design exhibition. That's 3 years ago. 3 years ago, really, 2019, it was an uppermost beautiful year, from my point of view, because at that time, our school, we have 34% of the faculty members, they are international faculty, and we have 30% of our master students, they are international students. Now, all of the professors, they have come back, but unfortunately, not the students. So but the good thing is that now we already opened the visa application for all of our degree students. So no longer be a problem. So we are very much looking forward to our students come back to the university. At Tongji University, and we tried to, as I mentioned, that we established a new school, and we also tried to change the design foundation part, especially how to connect the world of autumns and the world of bits together. And since 2014, 100% of our first year undergraduate students at Tongji University, they have to learn open source hardware and programming. And so you can see that these are all of the works of our first year undergraduate, first semester. The students, they're really, incredible. So they not only, apply the technology of open source hardware and the software, but more important, they create all of this concept and they design the software and they design the hardware. some of these ideas is, I think that it's already quite mature. Okay, I show you something, maybe. For instance, this is a musical instrument designed by our student. So they create a concept, and they made the prototype, and they did the programming, and eventually, so that the sensor can, it's a water dropping. And we built a series of laboratories in the field, I mean, connecting of the world of bits and the world of autumn together. Like we built the first Fab Lab in China, and then later we built 6 Fab Labs across China, including the first Fab Lab in Shenzhen, was built by my colleague at the school. And this is a Center for Digital Innovation led by Professor Xiaohua Shen, and this is an Intelligent Big Data Visualization Lab led by Professor Nan Chao. And he's quite young, and he's born in 1980s, and now he's a vice dean of the school. Last year, and he was the keynote speaker of the ISDR conference, and, which is the uppermost important research conference in the world. And altogether, there are 6 keynote speakers, and he's the youngest and only Chinese. And I think the most famous keynote speaker last year, it was Professor Dan Norman, and he's more than 80 years old. And these are the work in his laboratory, and how to use AI to generate, involve AI into the design process. And this is Professor Costa's lab of algorithm and design lab, and this is Dr. Fan Ling's AR and design lab. At the same time, and he is creating a startup company called Design, and I'm very proud that this company, now is already at the D rounds investments, which means that the company is now worth $1 billion US. So it's a unicorn company now. It's come from the laboratory. The company came from the laboratory. And this is a BODW lab about biomimicry, and then this is lab, and this is our joint effort with the MRT Media Lab. These are the research ongoing and the Media Lab initiative. I don't want to go through it very in detail. And this is the journal, 设计. 设计 is a kind of is a Chinese term of design. 设 means a setup. 设 means connecting the language and the action, and 计 means a strategy. 计 also means calculating. So when we put 设计 together, it means a set up a strategy, and you have to collect the thoughts and the action, and you have to, use calculating nowadays computation. And this is a very international journal, and according to the Web of Science Index, especially the JCI ranking, and among all of the design journals, and 设计 is now ranked #1 in the world now. It's a truly interdisciplinary journal, and this is a totally open access. So when I created this journal, established the journal, and one principle is that this journal need to be open access. So the authors, will not pay, and all of the readers, you will not pay, because we believe that a university like Tongji, like this College of Design Innovation, and we need to take a responsibility to generate the knowledge, and then we share the knowledge freely. I think that this is a very important mindset and spirit of the school. And again, in this journal, sustainability, again, as a very special focus. And we had organized a Tongji Design Week every year, and this is so far, the last, really international offline conference we organized in 2019, and Dr. Newman did a keynote speech, and at that time I decided that the theme of our main conference will be the beauty of uncertainties in the era of AI. But we don't know that. I never expect that next year there's a super uncertainty happening, which is a COVID. I just give some of the examples of what we are doing in our laboratory. And this is a laboratory I established with Dadawa, a very famous singer, Zhu Zheqing, in Tongji. And this laboratory is, of course, we named as a sound lab. And of course, it's handling some of the music stuff, but it's more important is that we want to create a kind of a cutting-edge laboratory, and especially think about how to use artificial intelligence as a part of the creativity process. So this is a box, and then we have input is sound, and the outcome is interaction, is symbols, objects, interactions, and performances. So basically, this laboratory is taking care of the content generation from the cultural perspective. The performances is one of them. And these animations is not generated by, it's not designed by a graphic designer or digital media designers. It's generated by artificial intelligence. So it's a kind of it's a kind of interaction work. And also we use this similar idea to designing at the object level. And this is a very elegant project. I like it very much. It's designed by my colleague, Professor Yuxing An. So this is the whole process. Unfortunately, in Chinese, I skip it. So he designed an algorithm, and then the algorithm can easily, to enable all kinds of interactions. So anybody can, design your own pattern. Of course, inside of a kind of framework, and then it can easily connect it to CNC, advanced manufacturing. So it basically can curve on any an object. And so in this case, I think as a conceptual design, and he decided to use pipa, traditional musical instruments, as an object. So this is I like this project a lot because eventually the final touch of this object is a co-creation. Between a machine, also the artisans. So they still keep this traditional skills. So in this way, I think AI, it didn't lock the jobs from the current job market. And this is Professor Zhang Zhoujie, and he's very famous in the field of algorithm design. He designed, extended his design concept in a wide range of design field, like sculptures, like furniture. This is his uppermost important work. Got a lot of awards. So it's an algorithm-generated design. Literally, one chair, you only need 1 second, less than 1 second to design a chair. And so he executed his work in Shanghai Exhibition Center a couple of years ago. There's 100 chairs all generated by the algorithm. But interesting enough is at that time, the whole manufacture skill, or the manufacturer, capacity at that time didn't support his idea. So he spent less than 1 second to design the chair, but maybe you spend a couple of hours to build a chair, even more than 1 day to build a chair. But now he solved the problem, and all of the chairs now is customized and manufactured by robotics. And and at that time, his work can only be collected in the art museum or collectors, very expensive, more than 40,000 RMB a piece. But now, he reduced the price to 10%. And 2 years ago, we established Zhang Zhoujie, and together with 2 of my colleagues, Costas and Philip, established a laboratory of art and AI. And this is a very interesting step forward, because remember that when we established school and we decided that we take the art from the name of the school and we put the innovation, like that was in 2009, and why in 2019 and we established AI and art laboratory. And during the opening, I say that my interpretation, I say that it's because of the function of art and the function of design actually is different. But for me, I think the main function of art is about enlighten. It's about awaken people, right? And the function of design is about the change. And I say that 10 years ago, I mean, in 2009, we already know that what design should do, right? So it's not necessary. I mean, that we highlight the importance of art to awaken people because people are already awake, right? But 10 years later, in 2019, it will become a problem because if we're overwhelmed by technology, like artificial intelligence, and it's really, I mean, we need to rethink about what will be the possible better future. So in that sense, art become important again. Right, and we need a new kind of enlightenment. I mean, for use the logic of art, and especially speak of on behalf of humanity and humanism. So that's the reason we established this platform. So that's in the occasion of when we opened this. The laboratory. And the laboratory is not located inside of the school. It's located in the city. So we always regard the city as our university. So we not only isolated, I mean, our design education and the research initiative inside of a so-called campus. Now this is a laboratory combined together with a gallery. And we always regard the design school and a university an agent of a positive social change. So basically, what we are doing inside of the university, what they're thinking inside of the university, we always hope that we can create some connection with changing the world, so that then university is no longer an ivory tower, and we isolated ourselves. And some project, I mean, for instance, this is in 2007, I created a project called Design Harvest. It's mainly about the urban and rural interaction and the design for the countryside. When China, we have at that time, China, we have half of the population, they're based in countryside. And we think that this is a very important resource for China rather than the problem. Right. So from that sense, and how to, I mean, imagine and envision the China as a sustainable future, I think that we have to put urban and rural into the consideration. So we did more than 15 years research, and also, I mean, more than, I think, more or less 13 years implementation. So we did a lot of prototype in 2 villages in Shanghai, one is Congming Island and one now in Zhangyan province. That's a book I published in English, I mean, an acupuncture design approach towards sustainability. Again, that's an open access book. If you're interested in, and you can scan this QR code and download this book. And to further this agenda, and we try to blur the boundary between the college and the community. So if now look at the College of Design and Innovation, we have 40% space of this college is now located in the neighborhood community. And this is in 2015, now already 7 years ago, right? And we started the interaction with the community through kind of design intervention, and we built lots of laboratories, I mean, in the neighborhood community. And actually, during COVID, we benefit a lot because during COVID, the university campus always, I mean, they have a much strict, I mean, policy considered to the rest of the city. So because of 40% of our space is located in the city, so our students and professors, they are using this space all the time. With the university space, it becomes difficult to access. And this is a small land, which is about 7 minutes walking distance from my college. Again, I mean, we put a lot of laboratories, incubators, joint creative space with the industries. And this is a very famous project. It's a joint laboratory with Aston Martin. Inside the space is a very fancy, according to the Aston Martin standard. But if you look up, you will see that it's just a kind of workers' community of Shanghai. It's a very dramatic way. And this is a very, also, I think that's a very important project. I mean, during COVID, I mean, it's created by my colleague, Dr. Shu Yunsheng. It's a P2 level PCR test laboratory. Because in China's experience, I mean, it's very important to increase the capacity of a PCR test. And then, I mean, it can, the air structure laboratory can be built within 6 minutes. So it's in some way, I think that actually this concept is also developed from the laboratory outside of the campus. And now this line, I mean, we create a kind of, we call a nice commune. It's become a kind of a public center, and there's a very nice coffee bar there. It's a coffee shop, and Professor Otto Cibic, my colleague, and he at that time, we started gambling. He said that if you can create decent Italian coffee, I will stay in that community, which is, as I mentioned, that the workers' community. And I make that coffee happen, and the coffee has been ranked number 1. You see that in whole Kongjiang area. Kongjiang area, I think the population is about at least 600,000. So in that area, it's a higher ranked coffee. And then also he keep his promise, and he renovated 30 square meters apartment inside of this workers' community. You can see the environments, and that apartment becomes the most published design apartment all over the world. And now he becomes super famous. When he worked in the city of Shanghai, Shanghai has a population of 26 million, and some people can even, I mean, tell his name. I mean, so. And the whole land, actually, also we work with the community, and we also set as a kind of we use the latest OCT technology. I mean, also, I mean, we regard this as the land, which is only, I mean, 100 meters. I mean, as a kind of open laboratory. And in 2000, I think that 2 years ago, right? And 2 years ago, by the end of 2020, the British Design Museum and selected this project as one of the post-COVID scenarios that university, innovative university, I mean, should do. And this is a project we, I mentioned is here, right? This is we start a prototype project here, and then, I mean, university and the city decided to enlarge the whole project to the whole Shifeng Road, which is almost 1 kilometer long, and both sides actually the Tongji University campus. And then the last case I'd like to present is a redesigned K-12 education. And this is in Seine Design Center, as I mentioned, that we try to encourage interdisciplinary and creative learning, not only thinking but also doing. So in some way, university's life is quite, I mean, fun, but this is a typical high school scenario. I mean, all of our Chinese students experience that one. So I mean, we think, why not we extend the creative education, I mean, as early as possible. So I try to, I mean, create a new high school concept, and I will try to, and then I persuade, I talk to many, I mean, local district, and then eventually I persuade the Huangpu district to accept this concept. So we signed the agreement in 2016 to create a brand new high school, brand new, not only high school, high school and middle school concept. And Shanghai generously gave us a building which located on the border of Shanghai. And more important, that building was the mother school of our MP 100 years ago. Yeah. So, but more important than the location is the pedagogical thinking. So before, all of the learning in Chinese high school, middle school, they're all subject-based. Mathematics, history, like, physics, chemistry, etc., etc. But in this high school, and we shrink the subject-based learning to 60%. And then, I mean, the rest of 40% is a problem-based learning. So the students will see a much bigger picture rather than see an abstract, I mean, inquiry, I mean, in a certain area. So we hope that we can encourage the students to use knowledge across the context. And again, and this school was designed, I mean, based on the community supported concept. So the school has a lot of interaction with its neighborhood, and we build green line inside of this campus. So basically, the students will use open source hardware and the software to connect all of these fish tankers and vegetable. I mean, they are growing. So in this way, they know that an artificial system actually is very difficult to maintain. So I mean, for these students, I mean, they have the awareness and they know that the environment is fragile. You don't teach them that sustainability is important, that they know how difficult it was. And the good thing is that in 2017, and we start to recruit the first group of the students. So this is a promotion. I mean, basically, when we communicate with the audience, basically they're all parents. So in China, it's not the students select the school, it's the students and their parents select the school together. And then we had a kind of 100% of them, and they were interviewed. Because we cannot skip the municipal level examination, so we add a process before that. So 100% of them, they were interviewed, and they were given a task. So at the very beginning, they were very serious. And then when they saw the challenge of the workshop is a learning together, living together, they have to find some solution on that. And then I mean, you can see that they become much more creative when they start to work. And we select the students because each group, we have a PhD student or young faculty. I mean, they will evaluate their performances. So when the students, I mean, they get a ticket from us after the interview, they can apply this high school. So you can see it's really, this is all during, the picture was taken by me during the interview process, one-day workshop. So I think the high school students are so happy. And we make the high school happen after, I mean, on time, and we started in 2017. It was a huge, it's a huge success. So in this high school, you can see students are learning in a different way compared to the rest of the high school, the middle school in China. So they are much creative, and their classroom is transparent. So basically, I mean, there's no wall to isolate, I mean, their learning process with the other activities. And in 2020, during COVID, it's also difficult. And Shanghai decided to announce Shanghai's Youth School of Design and Creativity. And this is a platform school. So with this school, it's a virtual school. With this school, the design education is now integrated in 100% of the K-12 school in Shanghai. And this is a huge success. And of course, I mean, from the research side and from the source side, we're not only doing project, but also, I mean, we generate our original design thinking. Like this is a Design X complex social-technical system design manifesto we did in 2014 at Tongji University. And actually nowadays, when we talk about design, design is no longer design an object, and the design is more and more addressing, I mean, to the real-world challenges. It's about the complexity, ambiguity, uncertainties, and focus on relationality and the system. It's a complex system of we need to talk about complex systems of stakeholders and issues. And last thing I think very important, especially in the Chinese context, design is not only proposing solutions, but also we involve in implementing solutions and making progress by modeling through. And nowadays, I mean, when we talk about why we need a new culture of design, for instance, the Design X manifesto I just introduced, because now we are facing more and more, I mean, these global challenges like sustainability. And this was a paper I published in SIGCHI, Designing Interaction to Counter Threats to Human Survival. If you're interested, you're more than welcome to download it. This also based my keynote speech in ACM SIGCHI conference in 2015. And we think that the design, really, I mean, we need to use design and creativity, I mean, to tackle, I mean, these huge challenges for human being. And this is a book, I mean, written by Jürgen Randens. I'm sure that some of you, I mean, read it. And now it's obviously, I mean, we cannot pretend that the climate change, I mean, it's not there, right? And before I came here, two of, I think the largest and the second largest of lake in China actually is drying. like Boyang Lake and Dongting Lake actually drying. And when I visited here, the first station was in Austria, and my colleague in Austria also told me that the same thing happened also in Austria. I mean, the water, the lake level was dropped more than 1.5 meters. So there's a serious climate change. So it's really, I mean, we should, I mean, use design to develop, I mean, some new solutions, and especially what is sustainability? Sustainability is a kind of a collective behavior change, need top-down and bottom-up. Not only, I mean, we need, I mean, government action from the top level, but also, I think, from the bottom-up level, and it's about a kind of new economy and a new society. These are two books we published in 2020. One is Club of Rome's 50th anniversary report, and that is by John Sakura, and he's talking about how to use design to create the next economy. And maybe, I mean, COVID-19, I mean, we suffer a lot in the past 3 years. There's a bad side, but if we design, the good thing of design is that we always be optimistic. But maybe the optimistic part is that the whole world has been stopped for the economy of China. We never think about how China's economy can be started, but because of COVID, we stopped in some way. I think that it's a great opportunity for human beings. I mean, it's a very important time window that we can stop and think. I always say that if the world after COVID will be exactly the same as the world before COVID, it's really a big pity for human beings, because really, I mean, we need to imagine a new, alternative possible world based on all kinds of thinking of sustainability. So that's the reason, I mean, come back to the title of my speech. That was an exhibition I curated just 1 month before during the World Design Cities Conference in Shanghai. People to people, the theme is people to people, human to nature. And in that exhibition, I mean, we select more or less 100 projects all over the world. And we want to use these cases. These are all ongoing cases, examples, how design address the big challenges like food, like health, like trust. Trust is so important. I think that nowadays a lot of problem is why we have so many problems. I mean, these years, I think that one of the reasons is that the trust was not there. So that's also the reason me and my colleague, it's not that easy to travel outside of China. I mean, but we still decide to visit Germany, because I think that the main purpose of this trip is to build or rebuild trust. And how to use design to not only, I mean, use the technology, but also to rethink about the technology and environment and prosperity, including the social prosperity, environmental prosperity, and also the cultural prosperity. And that was a scenario of the real exhibition. Maybe you can sense a little bit. Okay, the last slides is that's the motto of the College of Design Innovation. When I was appointed dean in 2013, the first thing I drafted a motto: to learn and create for a meaningful life and a better future. I hope that we can do something together, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you soon in Shanghai. Thank you very much for listening.